The following telephone recordings are from March 1977, recorded from a payphone on the 625 exchange, that's an ITT Pentaconta switch, in Asheboro, North Carolina. This narration is being done in January 2015. Randleman 498 is part of the High Point area, the North State Telephone Company. It's the only local code here that is of that phone company. It's a step, and from here, it's on the 8 level of the Asheboro step selector. To reach it, the Pentaconta here picks up a trunk to the Asheboro step and dials 8. And then it dials 8 again, because the Randleman incoming selector requires that. So this is the only local code where this Pentaconta actually dials 6 digits, 8 plus the last 4 digits. I tried dialing 498-6011, hoping that maybe I could get through to the Asheboro trunks, as we did in Farmer.
I'm sorry. This is a recording in Asheboro, North Carolina.
By dialing a 6. Didn't work, however. 60 is a vacant level. The vacant level trunk does that mysterious tick-tock thing before starting the recording.
A recorded message. You have reached a non-working number in Randleman, North Carolina. If your current directory does not have a correct listing for the number you wish to dial, call directory assistance. Thank you. This is a recorded message. You have reached a non-working number in Randleman, North Carolina. If your current directory does not have a correct listing for the number you wish to dial, call directory assistance. Thank you.
That trunk had very loud crosstalk. The trunks from the Asheboro step to Randleman sound like that really quiet stuff that you could almost mistake for T-carrier, except there's no fuzz. On the next 2 calls, I'm dialing 498-0111. Where this goes, I'm not sure, but first we hear the actual Randleman ring tripping, and then after a pause, we hear another ring, which I'm not sure where it's coming from. But it seems to be coming over N1 type carrier. Once the trip occurs, the N1 type carrier becomes apparent. It doesn't seem to be there initially. So we have that really quiet stuff to Randleman and N1 beyond it on this and the next call. Now, it's not clear what's exactly happening here. As the next call will reveal, this ring starts up as soon as we hit the 0 level. So this is a trunk on the 0 level of the incoming side of Randleman. The ring is actually tripped, and from the sound, that sounds like there was an actual power ring tripping. And then after pause, this ring comes on. I have no idea. This phone company is one that I always wanted to record, but in High Point, there wasn't a single recordable phone, several times that I went through there in the late 70s. Here is another call to the same thing. This time, that initial ring and the first tick are occurring while our Pentaconta is still dialing through the step. So by the time we cut through, you're only hearing the second ring. I reset the Asheboro selector, but no thanks. At one point in an earlier program, I referred to the real 625 reorder. That was to distinguish it from what happens on this upcoming call. I dialed a number that normally would go through, and there was some sort of a glitch, causing the register sender to give us a reorder without completing to anything. So basically, the reorder just came on instead of going tick-a-clunk first, which physically is an actual different connection. And also, when the reorder comes from the register sender, it's got to time out because the register sender is a common control piece of equipment that is only held for long enough to set up a call. So you can't let a customer sit there listening to reorder forever. Therefore, it does time out, and it wouldn't be surprising if what it timed out to were the real reorder. But in this case, it just gives us a new dial tone. The mysterious glitch happened again, but this second time, well, it sounds just like a number 5 crossbar dropping a trouble card before going to reorder on the originating register. The difference is that there's a little tick before the reorder just comes on. There's also a low frequency right before the tick. Here is this second time when we hit a glitch, and maybe there is a trouble recorder that dropped a card or in some other way made a report. Here, the reorder tone is still coming from the originating register sender, and it still times out to a new dial tone. Earlier, we were able to get a recording from Asheboro by way of one of the tributaries, Farmer, by dialing the office code +6 plus some more digits. Here I'm going to do the same thing with Randleman by dialing 49862 plus 12. By the time we hear the tick-a-clunk, we will have already gone through to Asheboro through Randleman. So we'll be going to the Asheboro step, up to Randleman, and then back to the Asheboro step over Randleman's trunks, which normally shouldn't be accessible from the outside, but they are, which is fun. Of course, it would be even more fun if Asheboro allowed you to go back to Randleman at that point. Then you could stack right off into the sunset. But no, all I'm going to do is pulse one more digit, which goes into the Asheboro intercept recording via Randleman.
I'm sorry. The number you have reached is not in service at this time. If you need assistance, please hang up and dial your directory assistance operator. This is a recording in Asheboro, North Carolina.
I flash and that has reset something. We have the Asheboro hum here. This is probably the Asheboro selector by way of the Randleman office. So we should be able to dial a digit or two and get the Asheboro recording again, which, by the way, went off hook. 1 absorbed. This must be that selector that 113 goes to, and we dial it directly from here. Now we're getting it by way of Randleman. If I dialed a 3 next, I'm sure we'd get directory assistance. But I'm going to dial a 1, which, coming in from this angle, goes off hook, plays the recording once, and terminates in a busy signal.
I'm sorry. The number you have reached is not in service at this time.
That reset the Asheboro trunk again, but let's flash longer to reset the Randleman trunk. Oh no. You see, this is funny. The Asheboro hum is back, but this time I flashed longer and I reset the first connection to Asheboro. So now we are sitting on the tandem selector, the one I jammed at the end of the last program. Same hum, just this time it's not coming through Randleman. We can go back to Randleman, however, by dialing an 8. There we are. And now Randleman likes you to dial an 8 into its incoming selector, so this will be absorbed. Here's another 8. There's the absorbed sound, and that's actually important because Randleman will just give you a reorder if you dial anything at all without having dialed an 8 first. Now we can dial the last 4 digits. Thousands. All right, you heard the cut-in noise there. Now the hundreds digit. That should have cut in. Unless this 1000 group is a 3-digit connector switch. Probably is. Let's dial one more digit. Yeah, that was the busy test on a line, but it's not ringing yet because this is one of those special connector groups that takes the last 3 digits of the phone number, where the hundreds and tens digits select the line and the last digit selects which ring will be used. These connector groups are pre-wired for 10-party phone lines, basically. Of course, by the 1970s, they were barely used and most people's phone numbers in them ended with 1, meaning normal ring. Here's a call to a reorder tone in the Asheboro step, 629-8111. It goes to reorder on the 8. I assume that's because the vacant level recording is busy at the time. I got that same Asheboro step reorder via Randleman by dialing 498-6201. This reorder tone is coming to us via 2 very high-quality carrier trunks, one out to Randleman, the other coming back. We can compare how this sounds to this. Damn, it's really good. That last was the local connection, but it sounds almost identical to 2 carrier trunks end to end. So whatever that carrier system was, it was probably really inefficient, sounded better than the wire trunks that we had all over New York City, any of the N carrier types. It was as good as the best T carrier, but without any fuzz, but it didn't have any frequency response over 3200. Since we can call back to Asheboro via Randleman, I would like to call the payphone next to me. All I'd have to do is dial 498, the Randleman office code, plus 625, the office code I'm calling from. It actually will go through, plus 9, and then once we get on the trunk, flash the last 3 digits of the payphone next to me. Unfortunately, there's no payphone next to me, so here's a call back to the, well, to my own payphone number, and, well, you know how that's going to end up. Right, but we will hear the Pentaconta connecting to a busy signal on an inter-office call. I'm not even sure I have a recording of that from Ramsar. In fact, this may be the only recording there is in the world of a Pentaconta office responding to a real line-busy condition on an interoffice trunk.
Am I supposed to stand up and cheer?
You know, when Bill Acker hears that, you know what he says? Yes, you should stand up and cheer.
The 498 office has an unrestricted switching train. Now I'm going to call the time of day, so I'll dial 498-6251 and then flash 340.
First National Bank has convenient locations throughout Randolph County. Time 12:56. Temperature 70.
I reset the Randleman trunk there with that flash, so hopefully I will dial an 8, which it needs. No, don't dial a 1. Okay, this is the Randleman reorder. That's the Randleman trunk resetting again. This time I dial a 0, no better. Flashed longer, now we're on the Asheboro selector, and hung up. Anyway, we just called the time number, which is a high-quality Autocron announcing machine. It's got frequencies up above 5 kilohertz, because it's all analog, and it's in this office. So let's call it directly again.
First National Bank has convenient locations throughout Randolph County. Time 12:57. Temperature 70.
And let's do a quick compare.
Time 12:56. Time 12:57. Time 12:56. Time 12:57.
It is really amazing. That's 2 trunks end to end. There's virtually no noticeable resonance, a little, but the only thing that's missing is the very high frequencies.
Time 12:56. Time 12:57.
Other than that, it's just better than anything I ever paid message units to talk through in New York City. Those open wires, I did not realize until I really got into going over the tapes that there were trunks like this. And it means that in the 70s at least, some independents, notably not Carolina Telephone, but some independents had something that was much better than anything the Bell system had. Just amazing. I didn't know. Now, as for that analog magnetic drum recorder equipment from Autocron,
7:53.
Time 5:7. Temperature 64.
This is a recording 404654, vacant level.
they can get out of alignment, but the frequency response goes up to 6 kilohertz, at least. And the funny thing is, you're only going to hear that if you're in the same central office building. And you know, I just thought of something else. The AIS announcement machines undoubtedly had frequency response at least up to 6 kilohertz. But we never heard it because AIS was a PAM, pulse amplitude modulation system, and it probably cut off at 4 kilohertz. So you could be right in Hempstead, and it still wouldn't sound as good as...
This is a recording in Asheboro, North Carolina.
Yes. Now, in the early 80s, Autocron went digital. And it was kind of disturbing, frankly, because their early digital didn't even have the frequency response of T-Carrier. So the Autocron product went from super high quality to this.
United General Insurance time.
7:19. Your alert weather forecast. Partly cloudy tonight. Partly cloudy and cooler tomorrow. Temperature at 54.
Thanks, employees, for making United General's first 50 years so successful.
In the early 80s, memory was bulky and expensive, so they didn't want to record individual phrases for the numbers. And to me, it always sounded like somebody was, I don't know, poking Jane in the ribs while she was trying to announce.
Great American Bank time 3:59. Temperature at 54. United General Insurance time 9:56. Temperature at 61. Temperature at 72.
Anyway, through Randleman, we can get to Asheboro by dialing 49862. We can get to a mystery tripped ring, which goes to another ring over N1 carrier on 4980. So obviously, we would definitely want to try 4981. That might put us right into Randleman's long-distance trunks. You know how it is. I'm always looking for an escape to the outside world, beyond the local area. Here's what happened when I dialed 498-1112. Pretty mysterious. What I do know is that when I dialed 498-1112, that ended up going to Randleman with 112 dialed into their long-distance trunk. At that point, we were hearing the ticking. Also, there were 3700 hertz tones. And then when I finally flashed a 1, that's when it went to the busy signal. I don't know what that ticking is. The busy signal appears to be coming from the High Point step camera system. Now, normally I couldn't be sure that that was coming from High Point rather than Randleman, but there are calls upcoming that sort of match the tone, like this.
Your number?
Yeah, I think that's the same one, and you'll notice on the next call that the reorder has that same frequency variation, like the tone plan is wavering a little bit. Here I'm dialing 498-1111 and just letting it time out. On this example, the 3700 hertz tones are more noticeably audible. Well, let's try dialing a toll call through the Randleman toll trunks, and this will go out through the High Point step camera system, not Asheboro, because Randleman is in that area. I'll be dialing 498-1212. That'll obviously dial 212 into Randleman's toll trunk, and I will rotary dial by flashing the rest of a number in Ben's exchange, 634, and you'll see, it works. But of course I'll hang up before anyone answers, because if I let that happen, then a toll charge would appear, and then the phone company would have to figure out what to do with it, and that was considered rude.
Your number?
498-2199, I said, pausing the tape recorder.
498.
2199.
Okay.
Here's another call to Ben's Exchange, 634. The operator can't hear me well because I'm talking with my hand halfway over the mouthpiece, trying to get it back on there snugly to record the details of the call going through. Because the operator doesn't hear me, there's a delay before the number's keyed in, and when she finally keys it in, only the last 3 digits are heard being dialed out. This indicates that the dialing out of the called number can begin while the operator is still on the line. It makes sense because it's rotary dialing. That takes a while, so it might as well get started as soon as it can. Amazing that in 1977 there were still step camera systems that had to dial out the called number like this.
Your number, please.
498-2199, I said, trying to shout over the traffic noise.
21.
99.
Sir, I can't understand you.
498-2199, I said again. Here's one more to a number I call way too often.
Your number, please.
498-2199.
The number you have reached, LY39083, has been changed. The new number is area code 212.
Amazing we've made all these long-distance calls and not an MF was heard, mostly because the step camera system dials out. Well, that's the high point way of direct dialing. The Asheboro way of going through the operator is quite different. In Asheboro, there appears to be a step, a Pentaconta, which we're calling from, and an NX1 for long-distance purposes. Here, the operator is going to put the call through on the NX1, and she will MF into it, and you can actually hear the MFs on her key set at a very low volume. Also notice this is the same operator that we got on other calls, including
Operator 23, your number, please.
625-9024.
Can I help you?
Number for time of day in Asheboro.
Thank you. 625-1340.
Thank you.
which is especially surprising since this is not the middle of the night. Normally you don't have directory assistance and assistance operator being handled by the same person, except in the middle of the night.
Operator 23, may I help you?
Could you get me area code 516-593-9083?
Thank you. Your number, please.
625-9001.
Thank you.
The number you have reached, LY3 9083, has been changed. The new number is area code 212-877-3552 in New York City. Please make a note of it.
Do you want me to try that?
Yeah. Oh, well, I'll call later.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Finally, here's an attempted call to Jackson Creek, 241. That's in the Asheboro area, but I'm going to dial it through the Randleman toll trunk by dialing 498-1241, and then when we cut through, 4 more digits. It goes through CAMA, but for some reason the vacant level intercept doesn't work and we just get silence. On this call, you can actually hear the high point ring before the operator answers.
Your number. Thank you.
I don't know exactly why we didn't hear the Jane Barbie recording here, but this is all we got. I tried flashing through, and it didn't sound as if my flashes were going anywhere. That concludes the March 1977 trip to the Asheboro Pentaconta. However, there was one last visit. In the summer of 1986, I came back through Asheboro and dialed from the Pentaconta again. I found a number of things had changed, not all of them for the better, but we'll get into that in the next program. One of the things I did find was that it was possible to make long-distance calls even more easily, as long as you had a real rotary dial phone, than you could through Randleman here. And in 1986, it didn't make a toll record. One of those calls reached initially by accident was to a step in High Point. Now, High Point was a pretty big place, so it had more than one step office, but let's see if the ring on the High Point call in Program 4 matches the ring we just heard for the CAMA operator. I bet it doesn't.
Your number.
Tough call, but I think they are different. Not surprising, really. The long-distance calls into High Point appear to be going through a tandem that isn't a step, suggesting that maybe a 1EAX, something like that, had replaced the step long-distance tandem by that time anyway, and with that replacement, probably the downtown step was replaced as well. So the ring from the 431 exchange that we get in 1986 is most likely not from the downtown building. It's a big place. There's more than one central office in that area. Anyway, the next program is my 1986 visit to this very same office, and after that we have the next stop on my March 1977 phone trip, Monroe, North Carolina.